Good evening, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So excited to have you on for today's episode of What's the 411. I am your host, Kit Grimes, Chief Strategy Officer for our wonderful sponsors today, Minorities for Medical Marijuana. This is your cannabis culture hour. We do all things cannabis. We talk the ins and outs. This is going to be more of your fun hour, though, but we definitely get into some hot topics and some events. We are going to have a really, really great convo today. I'm super excited for our special guest that we have because not only is this dude like super top notch, but what he's been doing in the industry as far as the different strides he's been able to make, partnerships, and just what he's been able to do in our wonderful state of North Carolina. Woohoo! We're still trying to push that needle though. So introducing, he came spiffy. He said he coming to show up for y'all. Wait a minute. He didn't let go of his Rico Suave curls and everything, y'all. My special guest host, who I know hates me in this moment, Sean Tolliver. Thank you for being
here. How you doing? How you doing? I'm happy to be here.
Oh man, I'm good.
I finally had a moment. I really kind of been running nonstop for a couple of months, so finally had a moment to catch up and go see a barber. So yeah, it was time.
Look, well, we'll get into how you've had to come over some pitfalls recently, just still staying in the game. So, and it somehow didn't wipe you out. You know what I'm saying? So we're definitely going to get into all of that. We're super excited to have, you guys on. If you have any questions, make sure that you jump on. Also, make sure that you are following Minorities for Medical Marijuana on all of our social platforms. Website is www.mmunited.org. Make sure that you're following me as well. I am the Edible Incredible on Instagram, as well as Kit Stays Baked, as I am the owner of both She Stays Baked and the Edible Incredible. But without further ado, I want to get into a couple of amazing topics, right? So a couple of things that I've been finding in the industry, like real talk. And actually, before we even get into that, want to let everyone know, whoever's on this channel, make sure that you're sharing with other people. We will have an amazing giveaway. I have so many things that I get from the industry, y'all, and I'm one person, so I love to be able to give those back. Besides that, it also gives a chance to share whatever other people have going on in the industry. So super excited about that. Just want to make sure I pop that out there. But our first high topic that we will be discussing, which again, I think is super awesome, is recently, let's see, I'm going to pull that up for you. So recently, federal agency announces $1.5 million in funding for the research on psychedelics to treat drug addiction.
Yes, and that is a win.
Look, a win is a win. You know what I'm saying? You know how we feel about wins around here. A win is a win. I think that is so unique and so impactful. So a top federal health agency is soliciting proposals for a series of research initiatives meant to explore how psychedelics could be used to treat drug addiction, with plans to provide 1.5 million in funding to support relevant studies. As public interest in the therapeutic potential of psychedelics continues to grow, the National Institute on Drug Abuse, or NIDA, or NIDA, I don't know if they say NIDA or NIDA, I don't want to pronounce it wrong, this week published 3 notices of funding opportunities for research projects to better understand how drugs like psilocybin and ayahuasca could help people with substance use disorders.
Absolutely. I mean, well, like everyone knows, psychedelics, right, changes like your brain pattern. And like, what is an addiction, right? But like a break in your brain pattern that like drives you to seek this out, right? So it just if you can interrupt the desire for like a thing or some other type of opioid using like something natural like ayahuasca, which has like existed before, like anyone that wasn't like an Indian was here, right? Like ayahuasca's been on the United States, kind of like on the continent of North America, like since it's existed. And so
Look, they still have ayahuasca locations and retreats, and I know a couple of people who have, licked the toad, and for people who don't know what that means, research that.
right.
So it's definitely super big and super relevant in a lot of the places. The agency is, quote unquote, particularly interested in a better understanding of the types of neurobiological and network changes that yield improved cognitive and emotional regulation and sustained behavioral change associated with the administration of psychedelics. So, I mean, fucking.
Yeah. Did did the platform like censor you just now? Hello, you still there? Hello? I can't hear you. Oh, let's see.
You know why? Because the system muted me. They came for me. They said,
Wow.
they said, you can't say that. I'm gonna say it again. Fucking about time. Okay? Because I mean, let's really think about it. Like, outside of when people be like, oh, you see stuff and it's super trippy, right? Like this particular like psilocybin, ayahuasca, all these different kinds of natural homeopathic, medicinals have really, really helped to open up. And again, with the neuroplasticity and the way that it's been able to, like you said, to rewire the mind. And it does even more than that. It helps you to like really clear things that you've mentally put blockers on, right? So it helps you get to like the meat and potatoes of what's keeping you locked, and really allows you to like stretch your mental capacity in that way.
And the big thing, right? Like preliminary studies like this, it's going to figure out dosage. It's going to figure out like best forms to consume it in. But if you look at it, right? If you look at the market, you already see in markets like Colorado, you already see like mushroom gummies and, both in the legal market and in the black market, you could see like truffle mushroom truffles and like chocolate bars and things like that. So, people are dialing in on like what a dosage is appropriate. And I do think that you're going to start seeing micro dosage, and folks like doing a daily minimum dosage like vitamins. I think it's going to become a lifestyle here in the future because it's
I
proven to
feel like
be
it already
that health
is.
benefits. Yeah, facts
I
for a lot of
legit
people.
feel like it already is,
Yeah,
I
government's just got
definitely
to figure out how to monetize it now.
now,
Right, like they got to take
now
their cut
I
from
wasn't gonna go
North
there.
Carolina. Now
I
they're
wasn't gonna
telling
go there.
us you're gonna get medical cannabis. Like that's not even a question. It's just how much money we're gonna make as we get it. Like it's
Well, we already
hilarious.
know. I
2
mean, if
years
you
how
were
quickly that
look,
changed.
if you want to touch on that, because we already know what a lot of these bills look like for North Carolina and just the entryway. And if you decide that you want to make $10 over cab fare in this, you're definitely going to be paying taxes. You're going to be paying the Department of Health and Human Services. You're going to be paying out, like, before you even open and pay an employee, you're going to be paying everyone else. So that's on a whole nother
As
just
a
wrong.
retail owner, as somebody that owns retail stores in the North Carolina market that currently service consumers with THCA, Delta 8, Delta 9 edibles that are federally compliant. To be frank, I look at their existing program and think that it actually takes North Carolina a step back. I think the very real reality is North Carolina needs to consider decriminalization and like regulation on the existing hemp derived industry because we have federally compliant and legal D9 edibles that are more potent than the ones that you can buy on the shelf in Colorado. So it's, to say we don't have a market is really like not even an honest statement at this point, because I mean we have a more robust cannabis market than I think some legal states do at this point.
Well, we're gonna get into North Carolina when I get into you, because I
My
want you to get
bad.
like,
My
no,
bad.
I want you, no, you good, because I want you, because here's the thing: the very real reality is that we live in a place and in a state that it's almost like the Wild West. And if we had proper regulations and things dialed in, we could really be making strides. I mean, look at the farmland we have here between North and South Carolina. Look at the amount of smoke shops that we have here. We're gonna get into that because I'm gonna dial into you in 2 seconds. But speaking of wrong and bullshit, right? Because let's just put it out there. It is what it is, right? The DEA is being sued by a former agent who was quote unquote, wrongfully terminated over CBD use. Okay. Whew. I know my topics be a little spicy sometimes
No,
because
I
I be
love
wanting
it.
to make sure that the people know, So a former DEA officer is taking the agency to federal after being fired for testing positive for THC that used to legal hemp-derived CBD oil he took for pain relief. So he's not even doing the inhalation method as far as partaking. He's literally probably doing, some type of either RSO or some type of, dispensary derived, cannabinoid oil to help relieve with pain, which is one of the main, medicinal qualities that it has and helps out so much with so many people. After
Absolutely.
15 After 15 years as a special agent at DEA, Anthony Armour was terminated in 2019 following a random drug screening that showed a positive result of THC metabolite. He promptly notified the agency that he believed the result came from the CBD he was taking as use in lieu of taking an opioid for that could have been prescribed, right? Because how they love to hop us up on the oats, right?
Right.
But he took it as an alternative to opioids after a hemp-derived and derivatives was federally legalized under the 2018 Farm Bill. He also voluntarily gave them a sample of what he was taking. Like, no, here, see this shit. This ain't what you think. 2 out of 3 of the tests showed that he was within a legal limit, and then the third test, which was a little higher, it was still within the plus or minus 0.8 that you have to be in. 0.08, excuse me. 0.8 is a lot. 0.08 that you have to be in with the scientific margin for whatever they have as far as what can be, what can't be, the uncertain parts, right?
Right.
Nonetheless, despite all of his wonderful, here, look at my sample, and no, I'm not doping up, they still said that they declined to make any accommodations and maintain the charge of suspicion of use and possession of an illegal controlled substance. The lawsuit is currently in front of the Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit, where he is seeking a reversal of the charge and reinstatement at the DEA.
Absolutely. And I bet he wants his 3 years of back pay. Like, like he wants them to eat crow on that. I mean, I think that's absolutely logical. But I mean, look, they have an opinion letter today that says that they're coming after Delta 8 cannabinoids, right? And like alternative cannabinoids, right? Just because they never knew they existed. So, and now they want to like criminalize them in some way.
We don't know what this is. You can't have this.
Well, like I know it's an absolute fact that law enforcement has to deal with opioid epidemics inside their own ranks. Right? Firefighters are getting addicted to pain pills that they need to do their job. You know what I mean?
But they would very much rather you be addicted to what they consider legal than not addicted to something that they consider quote unquote illegal, even though he was within all of his legal parameters and shouldn't have had any ramifications from it. I think it's a bunch of BS. I don't agree. He's better than me because you're seeking to go work back with them cocksuckers. I wouldn't be trying to work with them. I personally be like, I need my 40. I need a mule. I need a cart to put the mule on because I want him to pull me to go do some other shit. Like I would be making stuff up out the air.
Pension. He wins this, he gets his pension because he can get reinstated and retire. He's
but
not
here's
going to go back to work.
reality. If you're already
a cannabis company now,
look, if you having a lawsuit like that, you might as well just go ahead and be like, look, I want your job. As a matter of fact, I don't even want none of your jobs, but I do want every last one of your pensions plus mine, because I never want to have to look at you folks ever again. Like,
man, I would like for him to just say, I would like for him to get them to say, you know what? Cannabis is not in our area of responsibility. I would like for him to get the DEA to just say, you know what? We're going to remove cannabis as from within our realm of responsibility, because then they stop writing opinion letters on hemp, right? They stop firing their own people for cannabis, right? They just get out the world, because in every single state, like, it's a waste of resources on any level of the federal government to police a plant that mofos can grow in their backyard. Like it's illogical, and it always has been. And politically, there's no rationale in the United States that supports it. Look, like, but you know,
alcohol was once illegal too, right? And they had all the way, that's where the speakeasies and stuff came from, and that's where you look, that's where the Don Corleones and all that's where it all started.
Right, you know, led to the first modern American crime bosses, right? Like, it's no, people are gonna do what they're gonna do. Like I'm super liberal on, like, I feel like if you can naturally make it, it is your right to have it. like if you can grow the shrooms in your house, then you should be able to make them. Like, that's not my business. Now, you know, you can't have a meth lab. Like, we can't do that, right?
I've seen so many episodes. I've never seen a weed lab blow up nobody.
Right. You know what I mean? I think, but like, you know, growing cannabis plants, mushrooms, like, look, you want to brew your own beer, like stuff like that. Like, I just don't even think it's the government's responsibility to worry about any of that.
It's not about their responsibility. It's their financial obligation to this cog we work, right? If they don't know, again, you know, we come in owing a debt. We leave if we don't clear that debt gets passed. We have, again, you want to look, hey, thank you for being alive. You know, we know that you didn't necessarily choose it, but here is this very, you know, rudimentary schedule we're going to give you for these years that you're going to have. We no, you know, indeterminate, but depending on, you know, your body, but, you know, whatever meat sack you got, look, you know, this is what you owe, and we are going to make it where you have to follow these doctrines. Again, if you have different constructs and in place to control the people and how they can do and move and act, it definitely changes, you know, the trajectory on things. Speaking of trajectory changes, and this is one of those, like, it's more commentary based than anything, and I think it is very, very telling about, you know what, before I even say that, I'm just going to get into it. Boxing legend Mike Tyson launches partnership with Israeli medical marijuana company Insecure, quote unquote, very lucky. So he is punching his way into the business world because he's already had Tyson's Ranch and Tyson 2.0, and they are announcing a partnership with the Israeli medical marijuana company Insecure. Insecure will exclusively cultivate, manufacture, and distribute the former heavyweight champion's edible products to international markets for medicinal use. The partnership is with Tyson and his cannabis company, Tyson 2.0, which was founded during COVID in October 2021. Tyson told the Claimant Countdown, quote unquote, told them Monday is the deal that, quote unquote, is I just never in a million years believed that it could happen. I have the greatest team assembled in the world, and I'm very lucky to be in this position. Now, I know you're like, why is that particular news? It's Tyson, whatever, right? He made a very interesting comment. And this particular comment really struck a nerve slightly because I'm like, who the fuck are you to have the nerve to say that? But, let's go here. Tyson added that he works with quote unquote the best growers, and people have been in the industry for years. And so I get the greatest growers in the world, and I happen to join my team. We become business partners, and I can pretty much capitalize and manipulate the cannabis industry.
It sounds like corporate cannabis to me. So
that's how I feel. So what is your take on, on I guess you could consider him industry people now, but what is your take on famous people, coming from different industries, using their power of influence to manipulate the market? Because it can be seen as a slap in the face.
So I hate it, but I forgive them because they're not positioned to do it otherwise, right? I wish that the so-called cannabis industry that folks like to say is equitable, I wish these partnerships included brands like Viola or something like that, right? I wish that more celebrities partnered with smaller minority-owned operators, so that way a win could be a win across two fronts, right? Your product is going to do what it's going to do, right? Because of your brand. But when
your name alone,
right? Yeah. When they partner with brands solely based off of broad market penetration, so now you're selling a subpar product to a wider market. They really kind of dilute the value of their own brand in the cannabis market, right? I think Drake saw that happen firsthand in Canada with his partnership. You know what I mean? Because they couldn't deliver the quality product. If the street is serving better product than your corporate partnership, then you did yourself a disservice and the people. So I think if they partnered with smaller, more boutique operators that focused on quality versus quantity, I think they'd be able to make it a better win for the entire industry, not just themselves, but the consumers, the retailers, the cultivators that they partner with, right? Because if a cultivator can get a scalable growth with a celebrity partnership over 3 to 5 years, they might be able to quadruple their footprint while delivering the same quality versus a Caliva or one of those massive MSOs. They're growing in warehouses that at a certain point, quality control is just something they can't keep up with. And you're just not, it's just not a comparable environment. So they do a disservice to the market. So I don't like it, but I'm happy they win. I'm always happy to see people of color get opportunity that they were denied. I'm happy to see the balancing of the financial scales. Mike Tyson is owed every dollar he can get out of this space. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I hope that he takes the opportunity to share this opportunity with other brands that don't have the access that he has.
So you brought up a very interesting point a couple of times, and you were saying the quality versus the quantity, right? But now we have to assume that they're not in it for a payday and that they're actually in it for the culture of the people, right? Because that's where your quality is going to come in because you have a lot of legacy market people who, for one reason or another, and normally, let's be real, those reasons are normally either financial or federal. that they can't get into the industry, and they have top-notch quality product, and they wind up having to sell it almost on pennies on a dime. We already know about the issues that they're having in New York with the excessive amount of cannabis that they can't even get moved because of certain, regulations. So it's very funny that you said that, like, because it's like I see all of these, like there's the Purple Urkel from Steve Urkel from Family Man, Jaleel White, excuse me, his actual name, sorry. But he's got the Purple Urkel, and I remember a couple of years ago, they were getting ready to work with Lodi Boy and Wiz and get his own cultivar. And I know Little Kim has her own cultivar. I will say shout out to Method Man because his cultivar is bomb. But he even has a cultivar. But here's the thing: the difference in between him and the rest of them is that he has always been a part of the culture. He has always been a part of the industry. As a matter of fact, if we are to be honest, they actually probably were a very large part of that culture as far as how cannabis and music collides.
I believe Method Man's product, and I've never had it, right? But I would
believe is amazing. It's
right. They have one I have an absolute belief that it is phenomenal, right? Like there's just no way. Like that man is like the fact that it took so long to get him here, right?
He had a song go famous. What did Takao go? Like the numbers. The numbers. Like, can you understand?
But I think federal decrim will level the playing field. Because then Takao, things like that, like the real brands that really have great product, that like the culture really supports. Once I can get that product in my living room because there's no federal law preventing that, I think you're going to see these like wishy-washy, watered down brands. They're going to go away, right? Like some of these partnerships won't last. I think we've seen more of them blow up than we've seen like come to fruition. I think Tyson was one of the few that actually was able to do it right. And that's because he owns Tyson Farms. He actually cultivated. He actually earned his chops in the space. And like, you know what I mean? Like
even his partnership with Evander Holyfield behind some beef bullshit, like because the gummy ear bites. I mean, that's fucking genius, right? Because
he shows up at all the culture events. He shows love. He shakes hands. So
I got a selfie with Tyson. Like I mean, and I was like, no, I don't need y'all cameras. I got this. You know what I'm saying? So
that's what I'm saying. I never hate on him, but I do think there's other celebrities that have done nowhere near the work. They just partner with like the richest, whitest company they can find. And then they ride that wave. And while I'm like, look, I'm never going to get in the way of somebody getting a dollar they are probably owed. I just think it's fundamentally important that these celebrities that ride the backs of white companies in this space do something to uplift like black and brown companies while they profit, because they need to be intentional about that and entering these partnerships, because otherwise you're just doing that's where it becomes you're a part of the problem and not a part of the solution when you can't be intentional about that type of thought process.
Look, that was Chef's Kiss. That was great. So before I get into these events or whatever, let's talk about a local celeb, the one that's sipping the water on the other side of this screen. Let's talk about Mr. Sean Tolliver. So for one, you're an amazing guest host. So thank you for coming through.
Appreciate you.
And just because, and I'm about to big you up a little bit. So on Dab Day, we are having an amazing show. And because of one of his wonderful positions that he's going to tell us about in a second, I will be showing it and giving you guys a little history behind dabs, and this will be one of the babies used. And this came from Gassed Up Dispensary in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Make sure that you check them out. But
Me.
I am going to let him give you more details while I pump this baby up. So, Sean, give us the 411. How did you get the cannabis? How did you get here? What's good?
Um, so I kind of took a long roundabout way of actually getting into it. So always been kind of like a hidden advocate, but I had a corporate job in automotive retail. And so, any type of drug consumption when you're driving like company cars and things like that, it's an automatic no, right? Like you could get a spot test anytime. So, it's a different lifestyle, and you can't really be out with your life. But once I transitioned out of that, I started a company called C-Trax. And it was my co-founder, myself, and my ex. We started this company as a software solution to provide point of sale specifically for cannabis retailers. Because I had a passion for retail, but North Carolina, where we live, didn't have like a retail industry at this point, because this was, like January of 2018, right? So no cannabis industry. We went to MJ Biz the year before. We're like, oh my God, like, look, like we went to a dispensary. We had the whole like adult use experience, and it was horrible because like the checkout process was crazy and it was dysfunctional. And so, we came back and we're like, look, let's build something like that. Let's try and make it smoother. We know that this is going to go federal. We know this is going to go national. Eventually, there'll be an opportunity for us, right? Point of sale is a massive market. So we started C-Trax, and interesting enough, December 2018, hemp farm bill starts. People I know local and here in Charlotte open up CBD stores, and their whole lives are broken because they can't get anyone to service them as point of sale. And so we pivot to solely start servicing like CBD retailers. And after that, that's really become the last 4 years, almost 5 years of my life, chasing that animal. And now we have over 60 retailers in 8 states that all use C-Trax. We process, millions of dollars a month in strictly CBD, Delta 8, THCA payments. And, we're very proud of our customers, and we're proud to be a service to them. We're proud to be somebody that can hold their hand and walk with them in lockstep as they grow their businesses, whether they change payment providers, whether they're having staffing issues, right? Like, we're able to kind of be a partner that speaks to them about like, well, look, this is what we see in other markets. This is the activities we see here. And we found a lot of success in that space. And so now that we've kind of opened up payments agnostic, and we can integrate with these different hardware terminals across the ecosystem, not just with Square, but with Deja Vu and PAX and things like that, we really are saying that we are this one solution that can work with any payment provider in any market in any state. And whether you're selling CBD, Delta 8, we handle your loyalty, your payments, your inventory, your clocking in, your clocking out, your e-commerce integration. And so as we've scaled that business, I've kept a focused eye on retail. And I kind of understood that I have an expertise in retail that individual owner operators may not be able to arrive to on their own if they're operating inside of a fixed market with a limited window, right? And so beginning of this year, I started the process of creating retail partnerships and buying in or acquiring operating stakes in retail stores. So since the beginning of this year, I've acquired 2 retail stores, one being Gassed Up Dispensary, the sponsor of Dab Day. So we're Gassed Up Dispensary and Dab Bar. We like to say we're Winston-Salem's first dedicated dab bar. So of course, we have our whole retail operation in our front, in which we service folks with premium THCA flower. We manufacture and create all of our own edibles, D8 edibles, D9 edibles, cereal bars, THCV gummies, We manufacture and create all of our own products. And then also behind our retail store, we have a full service dab bar that you can have a membership to have access to, in which will serve you our proprietary either diamonds, concentrates. We have we have a range of products for you to select from. And so, and then I also have acquired a second retail store. We're actually closing here next week, which will be Carolina Bud Bros in Lexington, North Carolina. So I like to think that I know how to kind of drive a retail business. I've been able to almost double the growth of our gassed up location since acquisition. And the huge energy is that, I want to grow in that lane and kind of partner with other retailers and other markets and say, kind of, let's centralize and unify like how we operate in our back office. You kind of streamline the operations of a store. You can kind of spread that footprint regardless of branding across markets. And once you leverage your own manufacturing, your own production, I think there's a way to win in this market, and a lot of retailers don't fully understand it. And I want to try and do everything I can to help them with. So doing that via partnerships, stuff like that as well.
Okay. Like for one,
I'm long-winded. I'm sorry.
No. Well, for one, while you was in the wind, I was in the wind, so it's okay. It was all good.
Look, I got my mind right before I got online.
So I get it. You know what I'm saying? So for one, I think that is super, super dope that you were able to kind of take, your know-how from, one industry, because you were in car sales, you know what I'm saying? And then use your knowledge of sales and then, service and all of those things, and then transition them into this whole other kind of POS systems for CBD, et cetera, in the industry. Because again, I like to explain to people, like, the industry is just like any other industry. We need all the same things. We need real estate. We need, we need security. We need delivery. We need POS systems. Like, we need everything. So we need sales and service. So, if you do a position outside of the industry, you can do it within the industry as well. It's just all about how you get lined up and how you get yourself aligned within it. And like you said, you went to MJ Biz, and it was like, ding, light bell, we need to pivot this way. And then all of a sudden you went to one, it was like, ding, this is how we make that pivot using what, we know how to do in order to make those moves. And then, like you said, the rest, kind of like fell into your lap as far as like the farmer's bill, and then just kind of like snowballing from there. So I think that is, super amazing. And it again shows people, you can pivot if you want to. Do not think it's $1 billion industry for a reason. There's ways in and there's ways to do it proper. So
yeah, I think the very real reality is I probably should have gotten to retail sooner. I think what I've learned at the same time as building my software company could have vastly improved both those roads, simultaneously. I also think, I think if you're getting into cannabis, I think you need to understand that one revenue stream is not enough here. There is no transition from $100,000 corporate America job to $200,000 in cannabis. Like, it's not there. Like, the very real reality is if you want to replace $100,000 a year corporate job in America, right, you need to come to the space with $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 of your own capital. If
you're trying to do something like that, where you're trying to make your own thing, versus if you're trying to work for a corporation,
right?
Like
it's just
so.
Right. So especially in a market like a North Carolina or something like that, these bootstrapped organizations, like, you're not going to have a massive windfall, right? That's why we manufacture our own product, because we can't just afford to just go and buy someone else's retail product on the market and then mark it up for a margin for a place that makes sense for both our clients and for our operational expenses, But if we can deliver the best quality product via production and lower cost simultaneously, it allows for us to benefit the market and benefit ourselves, right? I think you have to be positioned to do that. And you have to recognize, like, we got to make a little bit of money in wholesale. We got to look at make a little bit of money in retail. Me personally, as an individual, I got to, I have C-Trex, I have this, I have that. You have to be multifaceted in cannabis to not necessarily survive, but to thrive. You have to be able to step outside of a comfort zone that you set for yourself. Otherwise, like the learning and the growth
The learning
path
curve.
of your finances normally don't match the struggle. And so you got to be multifaceted. You gotta say, hey, I'm gonna get good at numerous things, and I'm gonna make revenue in numerous ways until one of them becomes dominant.
The thing. Exactly.
Right.
We're gonna give old school snaps to that, because that was that's
look, it's
that's
real
good
struggle.
stuff.
Like
It
CFAX is right, like a company that is like what we spend almost everything we make on trying to create and iterate on constantly becoming a better product that responds to the market, versus growing a retail business or growing a wholesale business. There's a continuous return.
an innovative
It's
curve
more,
that stays.
yeah. And so I just knew I had to become multifaceted. I needed to learn how to consult. I needed to be able to learn how to monetize like what I've learned and the financial cost that it came for me, and to be able to communicate that in a way that makes sense for other folks. That's what I'm saying. It's like, it's just not an easy. I tell folks, transition, learn one skill, monetize that, and learn something else, monetize that.
Especially if you're not coming under and you're trying to like have your own thing, or you're trying to
Right.
work with like a partnership to kind of do that. Like honing in on a skill or two it's so top tier in making that transition, outside of just having capital to kind of work with and see who you can connect with to build more capital to work with. So it definitely, oh my goodness, it is a resonating thing. And I encourage people the same way. Like if you're not like going to apply to work for, one of the conglomerate brands, and making sure like that you're like saying, okay, I know the industry pays like this because they need these top tier people, to come in and do this work. If you're not going to transition to go work for someone else and you're wanting to do this for your own, man,
for yourself, like if you're in the Southeast and there is no
he just gave you free game. Okay.
Yeah,
the game is free.
Come good at different things. But yeah, you go, if you're in Cali, you can go get $100,000 a year job with a corporate company. Go get it. If I could get a job at Cookies making 150, I would, right? Like, but for the rest of us that got to carve our own path, like get good at as many things as you can get good at.
Because look, and we were just talking about that, right? Because case in point, websites require, like we were just talking about, SEO, right?
Yep.
If you can become the SEO person of cannabis, like you're gonna help people's sites just blow up and become that thing. So it is a very doable thing, but how you align yourself and how you decide to come into the market are big things. I do help you figure those things out if you need to. So you can always reach out to me at kit@mmunited.org if you do kind of need help kind of piecing those things together to figure out where and which path you should kind of go through and take. So don't feel like you're alone. We're definitely here. But no, like, so let me ask you this before I get into some of the high events we have going on around our wonderful nation. Are there any events, anything that's going on with Gassed Up outside of you? Are you having a ribbon cutting for the other location? Like what's going on in your world in cannabis?
Yes. So, well, Gassed Up, we're actually working on a second location as well in Winston. So that's coming soon here in the next 90 days. So that's going to be across social media here. We do plan on doing an event at the Lexington store post acquisition. That'll be in August. But I would tell everyone, just, follow the stores on Carolina Bud Bros, or follow me personally on social media. I'm real simple. You can see my Canatech retail list, or just look me up for Sean Tolliver on Instagram, both Facebook and Twitter. But I'm constantly sharing my store's info and what's going on. So if you want to follow those brands, you can also get at us at GassedUp.biz is my website for the retail store. So if you guys want to take a look at a DabX rig, which is definitely my preferred consumption method for concentrates, or if you want to try some of our D9 edibles or some of our D8 edibles, feel free to shop with us there. If you're a retail store, if you need help with point of sale, inventory control, if you need guidance, consultant payments, please reach out, www.ctrax.com, c-trax.com. You can also find us on Instagram, ctrax POS. But we're here every day, working every day, grinding every day. Like I live in my car and on my phone. so every day's an event, it feels like. So
no worries, and that's a real energy, and I understand that. Thank you so much. But while you're still here with me, let's go through some of these high events that I thought was super cool. Again, people, you do not have to be in the industry to go to these events unless specified, and don't be afraid to show up, because you never know what you're going to learn or who you're going to meet. So first event is the 8th Native American Cannabis and Hemp Conference. That is going to be on June 6th and June 7th at the Pechanga Resort Casino in Temecula, California. What's super cool, industry experts will come together with tribal leaders and decision makers to share information regarding the evolving legal landscape of the cannabis and hemp industries throughout the country. You will hear success stories and discuss best practices for creating regulated, legal, safe, and high quality products in your communities. This is a must-attend event if your tribe has already entered the complex market, or is considering other means to drive revenue and create jobs. This is also a unique opportunity for professionals with products or expertise to take advantage of the many benefits offered when entering a business relationship with a tribe. So, look, if you've got a business that you feel like could benefit, a tribe and make a certain partnership happen, you may want to go and check out this event. I think it's super interesting. I mean, look, Native Americans, they was popping the plant off for way before we decided it wasn't a plant that we wanted to touch. So definitely might be a really, really, it's a very interesting conference. That's why I wanted to make sure I brought it to you guys. So
look, I'm looking at it right now, because I've been trying to get in touch with the Native American reservation here in North Carolina, because they have medical. They're building 2 dispensaries, and I've reached out on LinkedIn and stuff like that, and I can't get a response. So I'm like, look, it might be worth it.
Look, they said your name is not Sean Tiger Bear, so we can't talk to you like this. So we don't know who you are.
I'm like,
you go and show up. Look, you go show up. They might be like, okay, like, you let's have a conversation. Look, a lot of these events, you'd be surprised at who you meet. You'd be surprised at who know you through different avenues. So it's definitely a good look, especially for things like this, where it's the 8th Native American Cannabis and Hemp Conference. Like, this is 8 years in the making. Like, as it grows, it's only going to get better and better. And why not get in at the ground floor if your business is aligned to them? So definitely make sure it's not predatory. Make sure that it's something that you guys can benefit from mutually. So another great event that our organization will absolutely be at. The CWCB Expo will be held June 1st through the 3rd at the Javits Convention Center in New York City. CWCB Expo is the premier cannabis business to business expo and conference on the East Coast. The event has been held annually at the Javits Center in New York since 2015. Um, at this conference, they are building the industry together, guys. This is going to be an amazing, amazing event. I don't know if you see in the picture, my homie Red is there. He's a huge supporter of not only our org, but the industry as well. A lot of industry people will be there. Not only that, just different organizations that you really should be connected to if you're really trying to get your foot in the door. There's always different break-offs and different courses and classes and speakers and panels. Like it's amazing. It's not just a bunch of vendors or anything. It's just such a really good mixed event. So guys, if you happen to be in New York or near it, make sure you check it out. And while you are there, check out M4MM. We will be having our Project Clean Slate during the conference on June 3rd from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. If you know anyone who has marijuana charges that they can possibly get expunged, let our attorneys talk to you all, see how we can be of help. If it's not for you, pass it on to someone else. You never know who can benefit from this information. Share it, share it, share it, because a lot of the time
they were going crazy with folks in New York for decades. Like, you ever caught a charge and any part of it is preventing you from doing what you want to do in the space, you need to show up to that.
Absolutely. We are dedicated to it. We do them literally all over the nation. Our lawyers are top notch and they really do work hard to understand what the laws are in your area. So please, 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 if you're going to come to this conference, if you or anyone you know needs to have your record expunged for cannabis charges, please let us know. If you look, you'll see on here, pre-registration is required. So make sure that you go to www.projectcleanslate.org, pre-register so that they can have you on there. Entry to the expo is free if you go and use the code M4MM23. Again, you do need to register. Please register. If you know someone, tell someone else, and come and get that done. Super important, and it definitely will help you to get that record clean so that you can have proper entrance into the industry.
That's cool.
Last but not least, Cana Salud. This is a business and investment congress happening June 14th through the 16th at Hotel Atelier Playa Mujeres in Cancun, Mexico. From the creators behind Mexico's leading medical cannabis conference, Cannabis Salud comes the second Business and Investment Summit, a 3-day event focused on the commercial and investment opportunities that arise from the emerging medical, recreational, and industrial cannabis industry. Let me tell you guys, go to the website, go to where this event is, look it up for your area. Let me tell you something. I looked at a list of the people that are going to be there, and it's got a couple of big heavy hitters that's going to this event, that's going to be speaking and on panels at this conference. And the location is drop dead gorgeous. I mean, you can't really ask for a better location to learn about, how to get more into the business and investment space, especially in the Latinx community. So please make sure that you share that. If you are interested, you could even do it as a vacation, a cool vacation spot. While
lit vacation,
you know what I'm saying? Lit vacation. You're learning about all facets of the industry. I'm sure that they'll have vendors there as well. So I'm expecting it to be an amazingly nice event, especially with the panel I saw. I wouldn't expect it to be anything less. But those are our events for this week's episode. If you have any questions about any of them, definitely don't feel free. Definitely feel free to reach out and ask me. I will get any information I can for you. Sean, you have been like super awesome, dude. Like, thank you so
I
much.
appreciate it, man. Now, look, I'm happy to be here. Like, I always like being able to run my mouth a little bit if y'all like to let me. So I truly do appreciate it. And, I love being part of M for MM. I think North Carolina and our work here in North Carolina is really just beginning, especially with the onslaught of these kind of biased bills. And I'm just happy to be a part of the industry and trying to help as many people be a part of it as well.
Look, all the jewels you drop, anybody, especially if you're looking at the retail space, POS space, reach out, contact this man. He knows what he knows, and he knows a lot. So you will not be, remiss for doing so. So, guys, I appreciate you all. If you are interested in learning more about M4MM, why not join as a member? Look up m4mmunited.org and go under membership so that you can join. We look forward to you coming to our next episode. Thank you for attending, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.